Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Ryan Lathan, the Manager of Marketing and Communications at Fort Worth Opera. Woo!
Woo!
Welcome to Young Artist Week and the fourth weekend of internationally acclaimed soprano Jennifer Rowley's 6-week virtual audition intensive.
Woo!
If you joined us last Saturday or watched our live stream on Facebook, you'll know you're in for a treat. We're giving you an exclusive insider's look behind the audition table, and we have some amazing panelists with us today. So to begin with, our Jennifer is joined by another wonderful Jennifer, world-renowned soprano, Jennifer Johnson Cano. Her husband, Christopher Cano, head of music and director of the Marion Rose Pullin Opera Studio at Arizona Opera. Lisa Hasson, chorus master for Kentucky Opera and Des Moines Metro Opera, and Jesse Martins, the youth opera music director of Sarasota Opera. A naturally gifted singer noted for her commanding stage presence and profound artistry, Jennifer Johnson Cano has garnered critical acclaim for committed performances of both new and standard repertoire. She has given more than 100 performances on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera, and when you hear her sing, you know exactly why. She is amazing, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, one of the nicest people in this business, and that voice is glorious. Thank you, Jennifer, for being with us today.
Yes, thank you, honey.
Oh,
Jennifer,
thank you.
Her husband, Christopher Cano, is a renowned recitalist, orchestra soloist, and collaborative pianist. He has performed throughout the United States, Mexico, Israel, Europe, and across the world, beginning in the 2017-2018 season. He was appointed as the head of music and director of the Marion Rose Pullin Opera Studio of Arizona Opera. Since 2002, he has maintained a private studio in New York City, preparing singers for appearances at the Met, Teatro alla Scala, Lyric Opera of Chicago as well. We're so happy you're here with us today, Christopher. We are also honored to have the great Lisa Hasson with us today. Since 2009, she has served as Kentucky Opera's chorus master and music director of the Sandford Studio Artist Program. She also serves as the chorus master and director of the Apprentice Artist Program at Des Moines Metro Opera, and has been the chorus master at the Atlanta Opera. Lovely to meet you, Lisa, and thank you for joining us. And finally, Jesse Martins is currently the music director of Sarasota Opera's youth opera program under the guidance of artistic director, Maestro Victor Dorenzi. During Sarasota Opera's 2018-2019 season, Maestro Martins made his professional conducting debut with Mozart's Die Zauberflöte. He also dedicated much of his professional career working as a pianist in his home country, Brazil, and in New Zealand and England. Thank you, Jesse, for being here with us today. Congrats.
Yes, thank you all.
Our fabulous 11 singers today. Let's get this party started. I hand the mic over to you, Jennifer.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you. And thank you, Jesse, Chris, Jennifer, and Lisa for being with us today. We get we get 4 young artist programs in one with this panel, and I love it. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this with me. As we did last week, we are going to have our singers enter from the waiting room as if they were entering an actual audition room. They will perform their first piece. We will ask them for their repertoire list and their second piece. And then this amazing panel will give them feedback right on the spot. So you get to be in the room where it happens or in the Zoom where it happens, as the case may be. And you get to see what goes on behind the audition table, what the panel is hearing, and the advice that they would give to these young singers. I'm so excited because this panel is a full young artist panel. These are all singers in their 20s. Singers are still in school. The majority of them are still in school, and some of them are recently graduated, but in their 20s, young, fresh, wonderful voices, and we cannot wait to hear them. As we did last week, I will be asking them what their tech is. So as we talked about last week, we know that the competitions and the online auditions are going to be asking about what tech the singers are using in order to sort of even the playing field so that everybody is heard with the same set of ears. So we need to know if they're using their Blue Yeti mic or their Shure mic, or if they're just using their iPhone or their iPad, so we can take that into consideration when we're listening to them, so that we don't judge the sound quality, but we rather can judge just the voice, yeah, and the presentation. So we are going to get started with our countertenor, Robert Orbach. Very excited to have a countertenor today. Robert, are you there?
He is coming in.
Wonderful. Hello, Robert. Can you hear us? Robert, are you unmuted?
Now I am.
Now you are. Hi, hun. How are you? Welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Thank you. Please tell us what your tech is today.
So I'm just using my MacBook Air from 2015 hooked up to my personal hotspot on my iPhone 11.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. Please announce your first piece and we'll get started.
Absolutely. My name is Robert Francis Orbach, and I'd like to sing Dawn Still Darkness from Flight by Jonathan Dove.
Great.
Still darkness, we are two dark shapes, like shadows, like shadows. It's easy, so simple. That's what we've been told. So simple, so simple. It's been done before and before. We touched hands. We touched hands, and then we run, like rats or cats, like rats or cats. We run, we run, we run, we run, we run. No need for fear. They made it clear. We paid our dollars and we run. We paid our dollars. We paid our dollars and we run. We run. We run. We run. We run. Climbed inside the wheels. There's room for a man. See you there, I shouted. Too thin air. And then the plane began to roar. The plane began to roar, shaking the terrible noise it was making. Roaring so loud and shaking, 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 so loud. And then suddenly the car he has not come.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. What a way to start off the afternoon. Fantastic. Can you tell us what the rest of your repertoire list is?
Today I also have Dove sia Marco Bene from Rosalinda by Handel, Audition l'Alma from Ascanio and Alba by Mozart, I Know a Bank from Midsummer's Night's Dream by Britten, and J'ai perdu mon Elise from Orphée by Berlioz.
Okay. How about we start with Jennifer Johnson Cano? What would you like to hear?
Ooh, okay. I think I would like to hear the Berlioz. Is there a place, I'm trying to think. No, I changed my mind. I want to hear the Handel.
Yes.
Sorry.
I love it. Robert, is there a place sort of in the middle where you could start so we can hear just about half of the aria?
I can start from the B and then go into the A prime if you
That
prefer.
would be wonderful. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, great. We will let Robert deal with his track because I'm sure that's a pain. Oh, you have a live pianist today. Who do you have with you?
Frisco?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to mute myself so you can get going.
Sono presso da tormenti e di crudi milamenti sul ponte posso vegliar. Sono presso da tormenti e di crudi miei lamenti sul ponte posso vegliar. Sul ponte posso vegliar. Dove sei, amato bene, vieni l'alma a consolar, a consolar. Vieni, vieni, amato bene, dove sei, dove sei, vieni l'alma a consolar.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Robert. Fabulous. Jennifer, let's go to you first since you got to pick that aria for a little feedback.
Okay. You did such a wonderful job. It's such a pleasure to hear your voice, and I loved how you presented yourself. I loved the physical, the freedom of physical movement within your frame was really nice to see, and the difference between the frustration and the intensity of the dove, and then the sort of the calmness that you brought to the Handel was really lovely. I really like how you're framed. Again, it gave you the freedom to move. And I only have one really nitpicky thing. At one point you stomped during the dove, and it distorted the sound. It was just a little shocking to come through. So again, don't inhibit yourself physically, but that kind of sound can be a little jarring, but wonderful job.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Let's go over to Chris.
Bravo, Robert. That's really wonderful. I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Dove's music, and Flight is certainly, I think, one of his greatest pieces. And I'm glad to see that it's being done, especially at Des Moines. So, Lisa, I hope you guys had a blast when you did it a few summers ago. Again, like Jennifer was just saying, I only really have actually I have two things. In the Flight at the very beginning, don't be afraid to play with the colors a little bit more. I think you can take bigger risks with the way you're executing your text and the way you're using your words. Um, uh, Even in this medium, everyone, all of us, myself included, even as a pianist, use it, record yourself as much as possible so you know what your machines are capable of doing. And so I really just would like to hear as much, just a little bit more color variation at the beginning. You found it as the aria went on, and that probably could have been because of nerves and the voice settled and everything. But don't be afraid to take bigger risks, especially at the beginning. In the handle, in the A section, don't be afraid to ride your legato even more. I think you have such a beautifully calibrated voice. It's very present. We're getting words. I understood everything you were saying. I think you can play even more with writing the line and enjoying that feeling of connection just a little bit more. But other than that, it was really great. Congratulations.
Bravo. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Lisa. Yeah, Des Moines did this, didn't they? A couple of
Yes,
seasons ago, last season.
absolutely.
I love that piece.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Hi. Thanks, everybody. And can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Can
Thank
you hear
you.
me? Okay,
Yeah.
terrific. Thank you for the shout out, Chris. Yes, Flight is an extraordinary piece. I was fortunate enough to sit next to Jonathan Dove at the premiere, and as chorus master, I thanked him for giving me the night off. However, that being said, a terrific job. Terrific job, Robert. Really, you have a really, really beautiful voice, and you're musical, and I enjoyed the presentation. Just in terms of the setup, for me, you were quite shadowed, and I couldn't see your face quite clearly. That could just be my device, but if I was watching this as an audition tape, I would want you just a little closer and a little more lit. Let's start with the refugee briefly. I completely want to just echo what Chris said. I agree with that. I think you can play with a bigger toolbox. I think there can be a bigger dynamic, dramatic arc. The refugee is in a terrible, desperate situation. And finally, at the end of the opera, we realize what his story is and how tragic his story is. But I think it's tempting to play the end of the aria too soon. And all those melismas, and when you start to let the desperation out, allow yourself a bigger arc, a bigger dynamic arc. When you're doing the melismas on the word cold, be sure they're not all the same. Find variation, find a journey through that. And when we come to the end, I think you can explore an even more parlando quality as you describe, now this is your situation, that you're stuck here. But otherwise, bravo. Dove say, lovely. I think the handle is lovely in your voice. I find your Italian is too syllabic. And I think it goes back to what Chris said outline. You need 2 to 4 bar phrases. You need to decide which are the important words. Just because a syllable is on a higher note does not mean it takes an accent. For instance, amato bene. You have to resist the higher, more comfortable register and go into where the text is taking you. Go into where the phrase is taking you. And I think that aria will then really bloom and grow for you, and it will become a really, really beautiful aria for you. So speak the text and then see what you discover after you've spoken the shape of the text, where Handel then sets the text for you. Otherwise, bravo, bravo, bravo. Very nice job.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that awesome feedback. Thanks. Okay, over to Jesse.
Thank you, Robert. Great job. I think my colleagues said all the musical things I had taken note of. So, go further with your musical expression and always find a reason for your movement. I think that will help. And in terms of tack, I would say I agree that the lighting, because it's coming from above, it's kind of casting a shadow on you. So maybe an additional light that comes from the front will help. And also, I know you don't have an external mic. On my end, the really high notes were blowing the mic. So you might want to invest on an external mic or find out if there's a way of tweaking the audio settings on your Mac Air in order to help us, because we could hear the fullness of the voice, but then it would cut off with the mic blowing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you so much. Robert, thank you so much for sharing those absolutely beautiful arias with us. The flight was incredible. I've only ever heard it in a coaching. I've never actually heard it with a pianist, and it really is, it's beautiful, and you did an amazing job with it. Like your connection to the character and the text and what you were seeing and what you were feeling was really stunning. And I think it makes an incredible first impression. And thank you for being the first impression on our afternoon today. I know that's not ever fun to be the first one, but you really did a fantastic job. So thank you. I echo everyone else. Just get a little halo light, put it on the desk in front of you and light up your face, because you really are so expressive. And I want to connect with what you're saying, even through the computer, because you were so intense in that character, and that excites me as a singer, but also, as someone who's watching as an auditor and as a panelist. I want to see that through the computer. So we need the light on the face for that, for sure. But yeah, fantastic job, Robert. Thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate all of this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to soprano. Sara Kennedy. Is Sara in the waiting room, or is she already here? Sara, are you there?
There we go. Are we there?
There she is. Hi, Sara. Welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us what your tech is today and what you're using over there?
Yes. So I am using my Blue Yeti mic, external mic, connected to my Samsung Galaxy Note 9 with a ring light on a tripod, and I'm going to be using my iPad to play my accompaniment tracks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. That gives us so much information. Okay, announce your first piece and we will get started.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sara Kennedy, and I would like to start with Martin aller Arten from Mozart's Abduction from the Seraglio.
Wow, thank you so much. Brava. Sara, can you tell us what the rest of the repertoire list is?
Yes, I have Quando Men Vo, Ain't a Pretty Night, Je veux vivre, and Regnava nel Silenzio.
Okay, let's go to Chris for the second choice.
Quando, please.
Thank you.
E d'asta por la brama si astopil, e dagli occhi prospera, e dai palmi si intende sta, alle occulti verità.
Wonderful, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Let's
you.
go to Chris first, since he got to pick the musetta.
Sarah, very good. Bravo. Beautiful, beautiful job. Well done.
Thank you.
The first thing I want to bring to your attention is I love that aria. I really do. And I like to call out for it if it's offered, but I don't particularly like for people to start with it. And I'm going to tell you why. I enjoyed your performance of it. It's long and it's repetitive. And my advice to any singer who offers an aria, when you know you have a certain amount of time in an audition period, don't shoot yourself in the foot by offering something that's 3 times longer than what is actually allotted to you. So if you can come in with a preempted cut that you know is well within the parameters, and give the panel the option to hear it in a cut version. It's just because, like I said, the aria, as wonderful as it is very repetitive, and we hear in the first 2.5 minutes everything that remains for the next 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So just be very careful, be thoughtful that way. You know, your panel has to sit and listen to a lot of people in any given day, and you know, you want to keep them in a good mood. And you did keep us in a good mood. You did keep us in a good mood. You did a beautiful job. Other than that, at the very end of the aria, in that final, I'm going to call it the final surge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Just be very careful. Stay in control.
Yeah.
Tempting as it is, the adrenaline is going. You know, the urge to move forward is there. Fight that urge. We want to hear the thrill of any great coloratura is to hear every single note within the melisma like a machine gun. You know, we want to hear that machine gun clarity, and in order to do that, you have to keep it in control. But that's it for the Mozart. I thought that the Puccini was charming. I thought it was beautiful. You look great. Keep it. Thank you.
I agree. I thought it was really beautiful. Let's go over to Lisa.
Hi, Sarah. Brava. That's a brave and exciting choice for a starter. But I absolutely agree with Chris. If that was what you brought uncut to an audition, I don't know that we would have time to ask for anything else. So just consider that. We're all sort of watching the clock, but a cut version is totally acceptable. You know, it gives us options, and you still can show that you can do that. Let me just say, in terms of you know, for audition season being virtual this year, because of where your voice sits and the arias that you sing, your tessitura, you're going to have to really think about how to record so that your upper register does not distort, because I think you're going to live a lot there with your arias. So just, that's a side note. Just, you know, I think run some experiments, run sound checks if you can borrow expensive equipment. I mean, none of us want to spend a lot of money right now, but just, you're one of those voices that the tippy top, we don't want distortion if at all possible. So just think about that. In terms of the Martin alla Arten, I think if you know, keep it in your package, albeit shortened. But I think you need more of a journey in your own brain in terms of, because it becomes like a stand and sing concert aria, and the danger is that we zone out a little bit. And I think maybe you need to find in the repetition of the coloratura or the repetition of text that she maybe doesn't want all the Martin alla Artens from the beginning. She maybe does not want this to really happen to her and is hoping that he will relent, because he is there, she is singing to him. So I think you can find actually a lot more variety on the journey. And therefore, why does the B section happen? Ask yourself those sorts of questions so that there is a bit more variety in the aria, and then the ending is extremely exciting. Because what can happen is you just can keep driving the voice, and then when you come to sing something like Quando, I felt could have been a little more beautiful, a little more relaxed, a little more feminine. I find the ends of the phrases of those were really, really driving. I mean, she is singing a song, right? This is a song that she sings. She has an audience. It's wonderful. We get to sing a song in an opera. So I think she's like, here I go. So you're going to have to downshift after singing something like Martin alla Arten, right? To a different thing, but that E natural has to be beautifully in tune. So that's also the challenge. So I think you can take a breath after singing something like the Mozart and find a softer quality, a more pliable quality in the Italian, a more fun quality in the Italian. And I think it'll take it even more to the next level. But brava, terrific job. Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. Awesome. Jesse, over to you.
Very good job. I agree with what's been said so far. I think with the Mozart, you definitely want to go for clarity on your coloratura and direction. And I feel with Mozart, it also helps to really understand where your part sits with the harmony, because he uses that a lot to create those special moments. And for the Puccini, what struck me as too much was a bit of the acting and the movement, not because it was wrong, it's just it was a little too much for my taste, in the sense that usually I'm trying to follow along with the meaning of the words, and when a singer changes mid-phrase for me, it always disrupts my following of your storytelling. So I would say, you know, I like the direction you went with it, but less movement there might actually help you with that. And one more thing on the Mozart, just be careful that every note has vibrato. At times we lost a little bit of it, either at the very tail end of a phrase or depending where he sat with the other coloratura that came before. So just be careful with that, because those moments become very apparent when they happen. But good job, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Okay, Jen, over to you.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for singing for us. And I have to agree with everyone. I mean, what a brave choice to start with Martin alla Arten. I mean, as a singer, I wouldn't, and to sing that piece with a track, wow. But here's the thing, and this was brought up, so I'm not piling on, but I'm just sort of reiterating some of these things. You know, the clarity and the coloration, because you have a track, is even more important, because that track is not going, it's like you're singing with a metronome built in. It's not a human being who's going to be able to adjust. And also, I would say go through and listen to the orchestration, because I would love some more color, and I think it would help you in those places where you know, where there was someone, Jesse mentioned a loss of vibrato and the idea that things are being driven. Find those coloration changes, and Lisa also mentioned this in terms of the character. Find those places where, you know, we get a little more, and a little varying levels, and also it'll give your throat a bit of a break too, making the transition into something like Quando Menvo much easier. But you are clearly well prepared, and you bring a lot of energy and focus to it, and it was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone. Sarah, you look fantastic. You sound fantastic. And what a real treat to have a real dramatic coloratura in front of us, which I love. I mean, I love a dramatic coloratura with a big, beautiful lyric middle and those crazy, awesome high notes. So thank you so much, Sarah. It was really fantastic audition.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to Alyssa Holley, a soprano, Alyssa Holley. Alyssa, are you with us? I hear something.
Hi.
Is she there? Hi, Alyssa. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Thanks so much for being with us today. Can you tell us about what your tech is and what you have going on over there?
Sure, I'm just using Zoom on my laptop.
Okay, great. All right. Will you introduce your first piece and then we can get started?
Yes, so I'm going to be singing Come Scoglio from Così fan tutte, and my pianist today is Corey Barrett.
Oh, wonderful. Live pianist Corey, thank you for being with us.
Le melodi sordide fuori di questo loco e non profane la lieto infausto degli infami adepti, nostro cor, nostro regno e nostri affetti. In van per voi, per gli altri in van, si cerca
audaci ancor, non mi renda audaci ancor, non mi renda audaci ancor, non mi renda audaci ancor, non mi
Wow, thank you both so much. Great. Alyssa, can you tell us what the rest of the repertoire list is?
Yes, I also have Ain't It a Pretty Night from Susanna, Dis-moi que je suis belle from Thais, Song to the Moon from Rusalka, and Klange der Heimat from Die Fledermaus.
Okay, let's go over to Lisa for the second choice.
Sure. Brava, brava, Alyssa. And I have to say hello, Corey Barrett. It's nice to hear you. Could we have the second verse of the Rusalka, please?
Great, thank you. Beautiful, Alyssa. Thank you. Absolutely beautiful. Lisa, let's start with you since you got to pick the Rusalka.
Absolutely. Brava, Alyssa. Terrific job. Let's start with the Fior di Ligi. That is a brave and bold start. So congratulations to you. And there are a lot of wonderful things that you were doing. I think that the recit can have a little more shape. Go with your text. And also just go with your sentences. Don't, I think the danger of this aria is to have it be all about the extreme registration and the extreme shift. Don't allow yourself to get sort of too stuck in that. Because I think sometimes what happens is either the voice, the vibrato gets a little wide, or there's not quite enough, you don't quite vibrate enough through the phrases. So just allow yourself bigger shapes, longer sentences, longer trajectory, a longer journey in her discussing, well, not discussing, she's outraged that these men are behaving the way they are and that they are in her house, right? Your body can have a little more movement. I think your face can have a little more movement. I feel you can show us, not in just the voice, not that you're going to, walk around or do anything crazy, but I think it'll also maybe help connect you a little bit more to the voice, to the character, to the piece. I felt like you were just a little bit stuck. So just think about that. As for the Rusalka, I think your legato was beautiful. I think the color was beautiful. I feel that you need to go back and think about what those words are in English. I think with languages that are far away from us, like Russian and Czech. I mean, we all start out in Italian. I think we're so sort of, am I pronouncing it correctly? Have I learned all these strange sounds correctly? That you need to go back and now really, she's asking the moon to connect her to the prince, to connect her to this man that she loves, that she can't really take on a physical form. Obviously she does later on in the opera. And it's a love song. It's a song about yearning. It's a song about desire. It's a song about an aria about passion and yearning. And so I think go back and really look at those words. And the second verse is different from the first verse. Even though it's strophic, the text is different. So I think you can kind of really get into the meat of that text and what those words mean to the character. And I think it'll also help, a sense of your line and vibrato and legato, etc. But brava, very good job. Nice to hear you.
Wonderful, Lisa. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Jen.
Hello, Alyssa. Well done you. I have one little technical thing. The way that you happen to be lit, you are so illuminated that it's almost overexposed.
Okay,
and
we're trying to adjust this.
I know, I can tell. And it's the only reason I bring it up is because we lose your face from time to time, and you clearly put so much thought and effort into your preparation, and you clearly put effort into making sure your hair and your makeup and your that everything was together, and then it's such a pity to lose it, especially when you have such contrasting pieces and contrasting characters. I would love to see the facial expressions so that it really sends the message home of your choices in the changing and acting. So that's the one little thing that I will say, but a beautiful job. And I will say one little vocal thing to be careful of. The big shifts in the come scoglio. Be sure that they're not, going a little ahead of Mozart's time in terms of their wideness going down, because it cost you a little, I think, when you got to the lower bit at the end of the Rusalka. So just make sure that, we're not going from 0 to 60 in some of those changes, but to find that place that's, it might be a little more direct and efficient, and then switching over to your second piece, I think you might have a little more ease. But really well done, beautiful voice and wonderful preparation.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. How about Jesse?
Very good, Alyssa. Thank you for two great arias. I was going to make the same comment about the framing, and I know sometimes you only have overhead lights and they're too bright, right? So it's hard to control something like that. I think if you were to keep this framing, I would give a half step back just so we see actually the bottom of your arms, like the hands.
Okay.
Because it felt to me that you move less as a singer, which to be honest I do like. singers that move a little less and with a little more intention. But it feels to me that some of those moves that you were doing were in your hands and we couldn't see it.
Okay.
So for the first half of Fior di Ligi, it felt to me that there was zero movement whatsoever, which for whoever is watching feels a little unnatural. So I would say, you know, just a half step back would give your hands back to us, and then we would be able to follow, I think, a little more. And I think in terms of musical expression, and of course, we know with auditions there is nerves, there is a lot of things that go into it. But I think you can be a little more daring, and you can try to find the nuance within that same aria that, you know, maybe if you're thinking from a character standpoint, you go, but that's what she's feeling, and that's the mood, right? That's the action. But at the same time, I feel composers like Mozart and, you know, Verdi, Puccini, they're great for a reason, and they knew how to give a character that sort of contrast and expression even within one big scene. So, you know, be daring, go for it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, Chris, over to you.
Sure. First of all, I just want to say, you know, you've got a fantastic voice. You really do. I hear people like you, and I get really excited because I hear the possibilities of what's coming, and I hear how your voice is functioning. I see the work that you and your teacher have put into getting you to this point. So kudos to you and your team. It's very exciting to hear you.
Thank you so much.
I want to just piggyback off of what Lisa said, because in the recitativo for the Come Scolio, just remember that this is an accompanied recitativo. It's not a secco recitativo. So there has to be a little more structure. And that's actually to your advantage, because when you have a voice that is as big as yours is, as yummy as it is, you want to give yourself as much time as possible in order for the voice to function as efficiently as possible. And there were just a few times, you know, at the beginning that it felt a little too free. And I know that a conductor would struggle with keeping up with what you were doing. You know, my advice is to, you know, when you're in the practice room by yourself, just speak the text in rhythm and conduct yourself through it. Put yourself in the shoes of the maestro and try to imagine what they have to go through in order to, and this is for every singer that's going to participate today, you know, try to imagine what the conductor has to go through in keeping track of, you know, all the people in the pit and following you as well. Make sure that you are as rock solid with the structure of the recitative as possible. The other thing I felt in the Come Scolio, and this is, of course, is a building block sort of comment going forward. Watch the way you are using your dipping into your chest. First of all, I love it. I love that you go there. I love that you are that you're not afraid of going that way. And I want to be very clear. I'm not saying I want you to sing less. I want you to experiment with mixing that a little bit more evenly. And the reason for that is, you know, the musical tastes of conductors nowadays I mean, this is just my own observation, is that they don't want something that aggressive in Mozart. If you were offering Santuzza, it would be amazing, but you're not singing Santuzza, you're singing Mozart, Fior di Ligi. So elegance is paramount. And so just, you know, just fiddle with that. Don't get rid of it by any means, because I want the voice to stay anchored. I want it to stay full and rich and voluptuous. But, you know, just experiment with it with your teacher and on your own. And I think you'll get a really beautiful, solid result from that. I loved the Rusalka. Again, you know, conductors are going to love voices like yours because they're not going to have to tell the ensemble to come down a lot. You just will ride over the pit. And I agree with what Lisa said. Again, you know, play with your words more. Really look at what's happening in this scene and in this moment where she's, you know, she's pleading for you know, the things that she's wanting. Other than that, I'm excited to see where you go in a few years. I think you've got a lot of potential, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, totally and completely agree, Alyssa. It's amazing to hear a 26-year-old voice that's this rich and full and well put together and sing with such ease. So thank you so much. The only thing I would say from hearing you today, be sure that you're on your body 100% of the time, because there were a couple of moments where the vibrato slowed down a little too much and it jumped out of the amazing legato that you had going on. So just make sure that in those moments, you're really, really feeding the breath and continuing the spin so that the vibrato stays steady completely the whole time, because you don't want one note to just kind of stick out on you. Do you know what I mean? Great. Alyssa, amazing job. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, let us move on to Veena Akama-Makia, mezzo-soprano. Veena, is she here? Do we have her? Veena. I'm going to just scroll through and see you here.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Can you talk us through your tech today? What do you have going on over there?
Yes. So I'm using a ring light. I am on a MacBook Air, and for my microphone, I have an external one. I'm using the Rode NT USB microphone.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great. Okay. If you can just announce your first piece, we'll get started.
Yes. Today, I will be singing O Malir Immortelle from Sappho by Gounod. The aria is long. Would you like to hear the complete aria or just the second verse?
I think just the second verse would be great, and then we can hear a second piece. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Vina. What a voice. Another 26-year-old with a big, beautiful voice. I love it. Okay, let's go to Jesse for this one.
Vina, what other arias do you have with you?
So today I have Amour Vient Day from Samson and Delilah. I have Addie's Blues from Mark Littstein's Regina. I have, Sgombra e la Sacra Selva from Norma. And I also have the Witch's aria.
Oh. I would go for Samson and Delilah unless my colleagues would like to hear something else.
No, honey, your choice.
Okay, let's go for our movie.
Great. Vina, thank you so much. What a beautiful, stunning voice.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jesse.
Great job, Vina. Thank you for your audition. I would, if you have a bigger space to do your auditions in the future, I think your voice would benefit from it greatly. A couple more things about setup. I would, again, bring that frame a little lower just so we can get involved with your hands as well. Because
Okay.
you see that you are very expressive with your arms, but because of the framing, we lost most of that expression that you're trying to bring with your acting. And then the mic setup as well. It feels that, you know, a little more finagling with the settings needs to happen in order for the high not to blow. And again, you have a big voice, and in a space that is already small, if the mic is not serving you, I would say invest a little more time since you have that external mic to figure out those settings, because, you know, it was definitely blowing once you got to like a D and E flat up. You know, it was getting there. And then also, because you have this gorgeous voice, you know, don't apologize for it either. You know, as you are using it to go down on the line sometimes, it feels like, well, it's easy for me, so I'll go easy on it. When I think we are expecting you to go the other route because it sounds so easy on your voice. So I think, again, dare to go further with expression and the really long lines. And I think you will find also when you have that long line planned ahead, it will help you on the breath control that maybe at times felt like, okay, I wish I could have done a little more, but then I would run out of breath. And I think it's more a case of planning what is my objective with this phrase and what is the climax of it. But great audition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Jesse. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Jennifer.
Hi, Vina.
Hi.
I first met Vina a few years ago at a summer program, so it is such a pleasure to hear you again. I've always been such a fan of your beautiful voice and your beautiful way of expressing yourself. So it's such a nice thing to hear you after a while and see your growth, and it's a real pleasure. I have to say, I'm just gonna tack on to what Jesse had to say about the placement of both the camera and your mic, because it's twofold. We could see you wanting to use your hands, and for my money, I ideally like to see something, you know, for the camera, the bottom of the camera to land somewhere between the top of the knee and your waist, and also so that what we're not getting on the top third is just wall. So if there's a way to sort of split that so that we really get a sense of your person as an actor, so we can see you embody the character, that's really important. And then of course, if you can find ways to play with moving that external mic into places where we really can have all of the qualities of your beautiful sound and it doesn't distort, but also so you don't have to ever feel timid because the mic is close. The farther away that is, it's going to be helpful in all capacities of the sound for there to not be any sort of self-consciousness. And I just thought of this. I'm thinking of all of particularly the women who might be, are you all wearing shoes for these? Don't. Why?
Barefoot.
I don't, first of all, if I'm not going to see it in the frame, and it might help you to just feel more grounded, and it might help you to just feel like, especially when you're playing characters like you're playing and you have this gorgeous Mother Earth quality to your sound, don't worry about that formality. No one's ever going to know. So kick those shoes off, get comfortable. You look fantastic. You sound wonderful, and brava to you.
Totally agree, Jen. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to Lisa.
Brava, stunning voice. I wrote just a fantastic throat that you have, and colors in the voice, and it's exciting to hear a young mezzo of that kind of a size of a voice. So brava to you. Wonderful. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Need a further away setup. so that you can feel that your voice can do what it needs to do. I'm sure having the so close to you kind of truncates you slightly. You know, you sort of like, I don't want to be too loud. We want you to be too loud, but we also want the mic to be able to accommodate all the colors that you want to do and see your beautiful frame as well. So just think about that going into audition season, as we're all, you know, virtual at the moment. You know, I love O ma lyre immortelle. I absolutely love when full lyric mezzos operate. And I think you have an ideal voice for it. I would say just a couple of things. Be careful that, or think about that the legato, you can never come out of the taffy of the legato. Sometimes I feel like you are overshowing me too many words and you get stuck. And so the shape of the phrase and the efficiency of the breath, I believe Jennifer alluded to that, or maybe it was Jessie, pardon me, I can't remember, but the efficiency of the breath doesn't serve you, and you kind of run out of road a little bit. And I think you don't need to. I think you need to just have a bigger architecture, find one or two words that you know you have to kind of sink into. Often it corresponds with harmony, and allow the taffy and the sort of the rolling accompaniment to just sink into the sound, but keep going. Does that make sense? I think you just have sort of too many pit stops and you're trying to show me too many things, and you're kind of starting to work, and you work against yourself in this aria, you know? So just think about that. When you go into the chest in this aria, I feel that the Samson et Dalila is different. But there's a certain elegance in this aria that I feel that there can be a better mix into the chest with the Gounod, but I think in the Samson and Dalila, it can sort of be a heavier sound down there because of what she's talking about. Yeah. I thought the Samson and Dalila was terrific. I think in this aria, you can go even further with text. I think you were backing off, and I think you can go much more into the meaning of what she's saying. I think you can inhabit the pivots in the text as she's going in different directions, especially coming out of the recitative when she decides, okay, amour vient d'aider ma faiblesse. I want to get rid of my weakness. I want to commit this. I want to do this act. So I think more text in the second one, less text in the first one in terms of shape. And otherwise, I think it's a really, really exciting talent. Bravo to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, over to you.
Sure. You know, Vina and I go way back. Jennifer and I were with Vina a few years ago at a wonderful summer program, and it's always incredibly rewarding to see these young people sort of, you know, blossom and grow, and you're certainly doing all of the right things right now. You know, the voice is blooming beautifully. It's developing. It's very solid and strong and rich. You know, I've been doing for my program in Arizona, I require video auditions in the preliminary round anyway, so I'm sort of used to the things that go along with video submission. And the one thing I want to just drive home is I don't want people to obsess about, you know, the voice is what the voice is, and that thing that makes our microphones go bonkers is the thing that people go nuts over in the theater. So, you know, definitely experiment with it, but don't obsess about it, because we know very clearly that if we're hearing that feedback in the audio through the earphones or through the computer speakers or whatever we're listening through, that probably means that the voice is incredibly speaky and it's placed beautifully. What I love about what you're doing is that you have, you know, you along with your teacher have found a really beautiful balance. You know, I have one nitpicky thing that applies to both arias, and that is, I just want you to caress the ends of your phrases a lot more. This is something that we've talked about even in the past, and as I've seen you even, you know, in the past year when I heard you in New York. I just want you to be brave enough to really sort of take us to the end of each phrase with the utmost beauty and elegance. You know, caress the music as much as you possibly can and make the most of those moments. But I'm incredibly proud of you, and it's always wonderful to hear you.
Thank you.
Aw,
Sound
that's
beautiful.
so sweet. Thank you, Chris. That's great. Vina, I love that voice. Girl. My first thought was, where's this voice going in 5 years? And I would love to hear it go into soprano land. I'd love to hear it go into some of the dramatic soprano repertoire that has some of that juicy middle that stay in mezzo land now, because a lot of dramatic sopranos do that. They kind of live in mezzo land, get the body anchored, get the throat anchored, and then we move up. God, I'd love to hear you sing Aida someday. Go, would be so good. You could take all my Aidas, I'll give them to you. Like, you would be great. No, I love the voice. But something for you for your auditions, and I agree with Chris. The reason we ask for what the tech is so we can kind of level the playing field and say, okay, well, we're hearing feedback because she's using this kind of a mic and this, that, the other thing. For you and for the bigger voice, and we did this experiment a couple of weeks ago with the Salazar brothers from Opera Wire and their production company, La Cuarta Productions. We need this, with the bigger voice, we need the sides of the mic to be working. So in order for that to happen, because that'll round out that feedback that we're getting, we need to be able to sing into the space, not into the mic. So for a big voice like yours, I found it with myself as well, you need to be in a bigger space with the mic about 5 to 6 feet away from you, so that the mic isn't just working from the front in a triangle like this, but is working in a loop, so that we can get the sides of the mic to pick up the acoustic in the room. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for you, keep the same mic, keep your same setup, just find a bigger space, like go in your living room instead of your bedroom or something like that. You know what I mean? Because then we'll get all of that acoustical sound as well, and we'll be able to go, oh yeah, this voice is gonna be huge in a theater, woo, which is what we want to do with you. So I hope that helps. It helped with me as well in doing a recording myself, just to know that you just need a bigger space for a bigger voice. Yeah?
Yeah.
Bravissima. Fantastic job.
So
beautiful
much.
Singing. Beautiful. Okay, let's move on to Melanie Spector. Melanie was with us last week, accompanying her boyfriend, Andres, and today she is here with us singing. So, Melanie, are you there? Melanie. There she is. Hi, Melanie. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Can you tell us what your tech is today?
So I have my MacBook Pro here, and I have my external blue Snowball microphone. And
Oh, Snowball. That's a new one. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
like weird name, but I have my ring light, and I have a Bluetooth speaker to play my recorded accompaniment.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Let us know what your first piece will be, and we can get started.
Okay, I will sing O Zittre nicht from Die Zauberflöte.
Wonderful.
Okay. O Zittre nicht
Great, Melanie. Thank you so much. Okay, tell us what the rest of the repertoire list is.
So I have Caro Nome from Rigoletto. I have Je veux vivre from Romeo et Juliet. I have the Controller's aria from Jonathan Dove's Flight, and Glitter and Be Gay from Candide.
Awesome. Let's go to Jen for this one.
Great list. Let's see. Can we just have the second verse of Glitter and Be Gay?
Yeah, starting from the spoken portion or maybe after?
I will leave that up to you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah. Pearls and ruby rings. How can worldly things take the place of honor lost? Can they compensate for my fallen state, purchased as they were at such an awful cost? Bracelets, lavaliers, can they dry my tears? Can they blind my eyes to shame? Can the brightest fruit shield me from reproach? Can the purest diamond purify my name? And yet, of course, these trinkets are endearing. I'm also glad my sapphire is a star. I rather like a 20-carat earring. If I know to at least my jewels are. Enough, enough. I'll take their diamond necklace and show my noble stuff by being gay and reckless. Observe how bravely I conceal the dreadful, dreadful shame I feel.
Melanie, fantastic. Bravissima, thank you. We'll go directly to Jen.
Brava, Melanie. Thank you so much. First of all, I love the fact that I was able to, beautifully prepared, beautiful voice, so well done. But what I really loved about this is the difference in the physicality between the Queen and this. And I love that you were able to flip that on a dime. And within both worlds, I saw the embodiment of the character so clearly and so comfortably. I love your setup. I think it's fantastic. And I don't have too much more to say than that, other than to maintain all of the, those changes and that commitment between, all the different characters that you have on your package. It's sort of the curse of the coloratura to really show these differences. And the only thing, and I loved it, but I'm just warning you, some people might have strong feelings about the little dance. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It made me laugh, but just be aware there are going to be people who, sort of go away from that. So perhaps find a way to find something with that energy and that fun, but maybe play with some options for that.
Okay.
But bravo to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Let's go to Chris.
I mean, I thought it was charming. The glitter, I'll go backwards. I thought that the glitter and brigade was charming. I honestly don't mind the dancing. I mean, as long as it's not, you know, cartwheels and twirls and things that are ridiculous. I mean, you know, one of the people I love to watch the most is Cecilia Bartoli, because she just embodies music, and I dare anyone to tell her to stop moving. So, you know, if it makes you feel empowered, just you know, do it, but you know, be comfortable with it. The Queen of the Night, again, there were a lot of things I really liked about it. The only thing that I would advise you to do is to, you know, the last little bit, right before you go for the F, that leading up to that melisma, or, you know, that melisma leading up to the F. Again, it's an issue of control. You know, you want to make sure that you get the note comfortably. You want to make sure that, you know, we get all of the overtones. It's a hard thing. I don't want to say go slower. Just make sure that you're really in control and locked into a tempo that allows your voice to do what you want it to do. Because you have it there, but it can get away from you very easily. But other than that, I thought you were great. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Jesse, over to you.
Very, very good, Melanie. I think the technology side, the framing is very good. We could see all of your acting, so that was very good. I think the mic, I would like a little bit more, because the middle of the voice, I think, could have been a little helped a little more by the mic, and it wasn't blowing at any time. So I think just bump it up a little bit, and it will help you. I thought it was, both arias were great. When you switched to English, though, I thought your acting and how you were presenting your scene was much better straight away, because I could tell English is your language. You took it over. And I feel with the Queen of the Night, that needs to happen as well. And what it felt to me is that, again, find where the end of your text goes, even more when it's a recit or a slower portion. Where is the meaning of what I'm saying? Where is it? And then the acting choices you make should support that. So if you're saying something and all of a sudden I'm being taken to a different direction, that distracts me from that. And also, interestingly enough, on Glitter and Begay, the bottom of your voice sounded more present straight away. And I know different styles of music, you know, it writes in a different part of the voice, but at the same time, you know, the Queen is a very strong character, and I feel she can take advantage of the bottom of her voice as well. And for my taste, the Zum Leide, the Arioso of the Queen's first aria, it's a little bit on the fast side. But again, that could be a matter of opinion. And about the dancing, I don't have an issue with dancing in itself. I feel that this kind of dancing, to me, is when people are making fun of dancing and is a caricature of dancing. So that would be my advice, is not to, you know, to, yes, dance, but I think that it's very modern to me, and it takes my mind to when people make fun of people who can't dance. But again, it's an opinion thing.
Great. Thank you, Jesse. And Lisa.
Yes. Thank you. Brava. Terrific. I thought, you're a sophisticated musician, and I enjoyed, I want to see your face. Hold on. I'm going to go to the box. There you are. Hi. Screen this onto myself. I know you've had a lot of musical training, you play different instruments, and it shows you're sophisticated. I thought your German was very, very fine. I loved how you made all the dynamic pivots, how you often mirrored the articulation in the orchestra, how you were sort of aware of a larger whole. What I would say in The Queen of the Night is I wrote lean into the sound. And what I think I meant by that was she's lying. she's playing him. She's playing Tamino. So especially the cavatina, it can be within the realm of Mozart. We don't want it to go into the 19th century, but it can be much more exaggerated. I think you can make even more of the dynamic pivots. You can make even more of when she can't finish a sentence because she's upset. You know, and I think it can all go quite a bit further in terms of she has to hook him, the cavatina, right? He has to believe her that he has to go on this mission. And then I kind of think like the cabaletta is the victory dance. Okay, got him. And just to Chris's point, in the coloratura, I feel like you're already on to your next run before you finish the run you're on. And I think you have more time than you think. You have to tell yourself, I'm the queen of the night. I control this jam. You know, I control this. And I think most conductors and most pianists are expecting you to take a little time to the Fs. B sign, right? That's sort of a standard shape. So I don't think you have to, once you're in the groove of the tempo, don't get too far ahead of yourself, because it doesn't quite settle in as well as I think it could settle in. Because the notes are easy for you. Your top is very easy. I think it can be even more wow if you just slow it down a little bit up here. Not so much in terms of tempo, but brava. And the glitter was very fun. I mean, often because it's so long, if it's the second choice, we often ask it to start where you in fact started it. But you have to remember what that text comes out of. She falls apart in the first cabaletta. You know, it's the whine, you need to be way more upset at the start of the text, right, to what your life has been reduced to. But then, you know, you look at your jewels. I think the transition can be more fun. It can be slower so that it ramps up. It has a bigger ramp up, sort of a la I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball. And when you dive back down into the bottom of the voice, observe how bravely I enter the dreadful, dreadful. I think that can be much funnier. I think it can be much more exaggerated, because then she doesn't live there very long. She looks at, you know, another bracelet and she's off into the stratosphere again. So I think there can be much more extreme pivots, because obviously the technical challenges are nothing for you. You have all those notes in spades. And by the way, bravo for singing this to a recorded track with all the syncopations and the offbeats. Very, very, very brave to not do this with a live pianist. But yeah, I think it can just, both of them can flesh out. We can go from black and white to color a little bit more, if that makes sense. These are very extreme ladies, but bravo.
Wonderful. Thank you all so very much. Melanie, you sound awesome. The voice has grown since we last saw you early in June. So whatever you're doing a fantastic job. The only thing that I would add to everyone, I agree with Jessie, we turn the mic gain up a little bit. You're not blowing anything, so you might as well bump it up so we can really hear that middle voice, because it's getting very rich and big. And for 23 years old to have a voice so grounded in the middle, I mean, hello, amazing. I would like a bel canto piece. Now, I know you have the Gilda, but the Gilda doesn't give me that bel canto line that I'm looking for. And because your voice has grown, I would love like a Sonambula or a Puritani or something like that, which comes in where I can really hear some of that lyricism through the middle voice, and then has a sparkly cabaletta where you could ornament the crap out of it. Yeah, just food for thought for getting into competition season when you get to have a sixth aria or something like that. Think about a real beautiful bel canto scena with a cavatina cabaletta to show what you're, you know, to show that the voice is growing, and this beautiful middle voice that you have developed and found in the last couple months. Yeah? Bravissima. Thank you so much, Melanie.